Alright, what we're working with on this video is we're making sure we understand and learn about exponential growth and decay. So there's some things that you need to know that kind of go with both of these. Okay, so A, that is usually your principal, but that's also where you cross the y-axis, so it's the y-intercept. Let's name it that instead. Y-intercept, it's your starting off point. R is your rate, and it has to be, it's a percent that must be written as a decimal. If you write it as a whole number, then you're going to show a lot of different things. So like if it says 2%, that has to be 0.02. 25% is 0.25. Like you have to be able to write your percents as decimal. And then T stands for time, which tends to be years unless they say something else. Okay? And so if you notice this one pluses, so growth is anything larger than 1 in parentheses. And then decay is minus, so it's anything smaller than 1 in parentheses. So sometimes you're also going to have ones with negative, which I'm going to draw in red. So if I have a negative A value, so then my A, this is where it crosses at A. And what happens here is it's kind of a reflection and it goes down. So growth goes away, and it goes away going up, and it goes away going down. So it goes away. You cannot say it just goes up or down because decay will also do the same thing. And so that's negative A. Oops. And so same thing over here. If I have the function with a negative A, it's going to cross here at negative A, but it's going to be a reflection of this. Okay? It's going to go away. Oh, it actually goes towards. Let me do that again. I'm a little confused. This one goes towards the axis. Okay? And so I'm going to put arrows on this. People like to see the arrows on one side. It makes it make a little bit more sense for them. That's A. This one's A. And so decay goes towards. And when I say goes towards, I mean you read it like a book left to right. Both of them go towards the x-axis. Okay? All right, let's look at some actual problems that deal with this. Let's go down here. Not there. And so we need to graph this function. So this number right here tells me that I'm going to cross at 2. And this number, since it's larger than 1, that tells me it's growth. So I'm going to start at the axis, and I'm going to grow away from the axis. For number 2, again, this tells me to cross at 3. This number is less than 1, so that means it's decay. And I'm going to go down towards the axis. So if you notice, I'm not crossing the x-axis, so be careful on that. Okay, this one's negative 5, so I'm going to go to 1, 2, start at negative 5, and then 7 over 3 is greater than 1, so that tells me it's growth. So growth goes away, so I'm going to come here, and I'm going to go away from the axis. That's kind of a bad curve. Let's try that one again. That's a little better. So I'm going away from the axis. This one is just the negative, but remember there's a 1 there. So I'm going to go to negative 1. And this is less than 1, so this is decay. So decay goes towards the axis. Okay? All right, the next type of problem is when you're not graphing, you just have to find out if it's growth or decay. And the way I do that is I look in the parentheses. So this is 1.03. And so that is larger than 1. So this is growth. And to find out how larger it is, I'm going to subtract 1 from it. And that's 0.03, which is 3% growth. All right, let's look at the next one. Again, I look at the parentheses. That number is smaller than 1. And so since it's smaller than 1, it's decay. And I find out how much smaller it is than 1. And it's 0.13 smaller. So that is 13% decay. So why don't you try 7 and 8 on your own, and when you think you have it, press play to check your work. So you should have noticed 2.3. 2.3 is greater than 1, so that is growth. And so I'm going to do 2.3 minus 1, which is 1.3. And 1.3 is a percent. If I move my decimal 2 spots, that is 130% growth. And then number 8. Again, I look inside the parentheses, and that number is smaller than 1. So this is decay. And to find the percent, I'm going to subtract it from 1. And so it's 0.3. If I move my decimal 2 spots, it is 30% decay. So if it's greater than 1 in parentheses, it's growth. If it's less than 1 in parentheses, it's decay. And then you subtract it from 1 or subtract a 1 from it to see what kind of growth or decay. Okay, the last thing we have is we have compound interest. And compound interest is paid n times per year. So there's different words we need to know. We need to know if it's quarterly. That means it happens 4 times a year. If it's monthly, 12 times a year. Daily, 365 times a year. That's what n is. These things are n. How many times a year it's compounded. A is still your principal. R is still your rate as a decimal. And T is still time. So let's do 2 of these problems so you see what happens. So use the given information to find it after 15 years and $1,800. So my P is 1,800. My R is right here, 0.06. My T is 15 years. And this last one, you see how it says compounded yearly? Yearly just means it happens once a year. So my n is 1. So when I plug this in now, it's going to be my principal, 1,800. My money is growing, so it's a plus. My rate divided by n times my number of times n times 15. Now, really, you don't have to divide by 1 or put the 1 there, but it's a good habit to get into because there's times that you'll forget it if we don't start doing it now. So let me pull up my calculator so we can see what happens here. Okay, so let's plug this in. 1,800, parentheses, 1 plus 0.06 divided by, oh, I have too many 06s. Just start over. Should have just done something else, but that's okay. Okay, so 1 plus 0.06 divided by 1 raised to the power of 1 times 15. And so that's just 15. So I'm going to do that little bit of math there. And then I hit enter. And so after 15 years, my new amount of money is $4,013.80. So that's how much money would come and be in the account after that many years at that percent interest. Okay, so let's try the next one. So my P is still 1,800. My R for this one, I need to move the decimal 1, 2. It's 0.0881. my n, this one is found by compounded quarterly, and quarterly means that it happens 4 times a year. And my t is still 15. So let's plug this in. So it's going to be 1800, 1 plus 0.0881 divided by 4 to the power of 4 times 15. So whenever you divide, you also have to put it up in the exponent. Okay, so now let's plug this in. 1800 parentheses 1 plus 0.0881 divided by 4 to the power of, and I'm going to do what this is, 15, 4 times 15. So that's 60. And so same amount of time, a little bit higher interest, and compounded leaves me with $6,552.17. Okay, so it might be helpful to break down what everything is. The big part that people are going to mess up with is the n, so be careful of that, the compounded. And then remember all your rules for graphing.